Hi friends, it's AJ. I'm back after quite a bit of a hiatus, and I have some exciting things to share with you. Big things, good things, wonderful things. And I have some rugs I've been making that I want to share with y'all. So if you're new here, I'm AJ, welcome. I am a designer, rug maker, and tufting educator, I suppose you could say. I love sharing this craft with other people because it has totally changed my life in just the most incredible ways, and I want to share that gift with others. Alright, let's get into it. So here I am making my Ouroboros rug. Now, I've grown pretty close to this rug because I designed and started it during a period of major transition in my life recently. I quit my full-time job and have been pursuing my creative business, Magic Carpets, full-time now, so I get to make rugs and make content and share my creativity full-time now. So this rug is a Ouroboros, which is a snake with its tail in its mouth, and it really represents kind of the death and rebirth cycle that we are often going through in our lives, and I think it really perfectly kind of articulated what I was going through at this time and this major transition. So something a little bit different that I did with this rug, I used my cut pile machine, but at the end I wanted to get kind of like a stippled star effect. So I actually just used this punch needle here to add in little stars. I used one thread of yarn to do so. I even went back through and tried to kind of make the stars even smaller. They really didn't have to be all that large just because the contrast was so strong with the background. Hey everyone, I just want to hop on here really quick to make a little announcement. I have been looking for ways to connect with y'all. It just so happened that an awesome company called Community reached out to me to be a part of their Amplify Pride program. What that means for us is that you can actually text me and it's going to go straight to my phone and we can chat one-on-one together. You can ask me some questions. Texting this number will get you on my community list, which is going to be the first place where I make any exciting announcements such as new releases, some exclusive tufting content, and things like that. So my number is 323-402-6726. I want you to text me the yarn emoji so I know that you came here from YouTube. Give me a text. I'm excited to hear from you. Okay, let's get back to it. Alright, on to my queer queen. Now, this rug was a major challenge for me. If you've watched my videos before, you know that I've made a rug very similar to this one in the past. I updated the design a little bit, and I used my loop pile gun instead of a cut pile. This was pretty hard because with the loop pile, you have to cut the yarn every time you finish a line, and this rug is very detailed, so it involved a lot of patience, a lot of pulling yarn out and starting over, and I even used some punch needling as well for the face to fine-tune some of the details. One way that I tried to get the lines fairly crisp was by trimming the edges of some of the features, like the lips and the eyes, and then I would go through with the face color to make sure that I was really getting up close to that line. Now here's kind of the first iteration. I did go back through and make a few changes, but yeah, this is what she's looking like. There's a lot of touch-ups that are needed, but nothing that some scissors can't fix. The last Queen of Hearts rug that I made, I actually ended up keeping for myself. She's hanging up on my wall. But I wanted to make another queer queen in celebration of Pride Month. She is a fabulous drag queen. She has beauty, she has grace. She's fabulous. She's going to be available in my shop for purchase, and I'm so excited for her to have a new home. Alright, it is time to glue. So I had this idea to tape off the edges of the outside of the rug before gluing. I never did this before, but I've always had some issues with the adhesive just going too far beyond the borders. So I tried taping it and it actually worked pretty well. Here I'm using Robert's adhesive, the 3095, and this is it dry. As you can see, it's a bit tacky. Definitely needs a backing fabric. And then for Miss Queen of Hearts, I used a different approach where I used the AAT 1132 glue, which is a synthetic latex, which, by the way, I'm wearing a respirator. I have my window wide open, and I left the fan and window on all night while they dried. Now here I'm applying secondary backing fabric on top of the glue that I laid down and kind of smushing it in with some more glue to get it all nice and adhered. This is an approach that I really love the finish of, especially for large rugs. One kind of downside to the AAT 1132 adhesive, even though it's incredibly strong, it dries really hard. So the rugs kind of feel like your typical carpet versus the Robert's 3095 adhesive dries very soft. It leaves the finished rug a lot more malleable versus here you can see the Queen of Hearts rug is a lot more sturdy and has less malleability to it. Taking out my fan once again. This is a high-powered fan because I am using some spray adhesive inside, which is definitely not preferred. I would much rather do it outside, but I don't have an outdoor space anymore. So I got my trusty respirator on and my fan going and my window open. Alright, so we're spraying this Robert's 007 web adhesive on both sides of the fabric and the rug. I got this backing fabric from Tuft the World, and I haven't used it very often, but for some reason this rug was just asking to be used by it. I feel like it really went with the front of the rug, so the colors just went nicely together, and yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. So we're just getting a nice web formed here so that the two pieces can stick well together, and then flattening out all the bubbles, smoothing it out. Step, 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 step. Fiend. The thing about using a fabric, backing fabric, versus something like a felt is that you have a raw edge that needs to be dealt with. We will get to that more in a bit, but first, the big reveal. I got some shears. It took me a while. I've been using my trusty Wall brand hair clippers for a long time, but I was ready to invest in some heavy duty shit. So I think these were about $100 on Amazon. I will link that below. And they're super freaking loud. You definitely need ear protection. But boy, do they work. It is so satisfying. I got them because I've been making a lot more large rugs lately. I love the look of a really super clean finish, and this does that exactly. You can really make all of the fibers perfectly uniform, and I just can't tell you how much it transforms a rug. I mean, it really elevates it from, you know, being a cool design to looking totally professional. It's very well worth the investment, and I'm super happy with it. I just wish it wasn't so loud. Now I'm just cleaning up the edges. These are also some really fine details that I think totally transform a rug from, you know, something cool and handmade to something that looks really professional. Okay, so now the whip stitching. As I mentioned, we have this raw edge we have to deal with, and it's not every day that I say, I want to whip stitch this rug I just made. It takes a lot of time. As you can see here, I'm just taking a really large needle and some yarn in the color of the border and just wrapping it around that raw edge over and over and over again until it's finished. It probably took like, I don't know, 5 hours or something. I watched pretty much the entire second season of Feel Good on Netflix. So yeah, we whip stitched our snake rug, and now I'm trying out a new method for Miss Queen of Hearts. So in the past, I have used twill tape here to cover my raw edges of the fabric, and I've noticed that you can kind of see the tufting fabric on just like the border edge. So I had this idea that I would first start by putting the twill tape directly underneath that seam where the yarn meets the fabric. And I would do this before I actually laid down the twill tape to cover the raw edge. So that's what I'm doing here, just like right up in there. I'm pushing the twill tape as like far into that seam as I can, so that when you fold it over, you won't see any of the gray fabric. I really was trying to be meticulous about that because the gray would stand out a lot next to this off-white yarn. And it just so happens that this twill tape perfectly matches the yarn, so I think it worked out perfectly. Now I'm just cutting all of the excess fabric off from the inside, which will then be covered by the twill tape when I push it over. And here I accidentally cut a hole in the twill tape, so just be really careful that you don't do that, but it was super easy to patch. I got this twill tape off of Amazon in a large spool of it, so I will also link that below for you. And now I'm just trying to really push that edge of the glue over as much as I can. As I mentioned, one of the cons of using AAT 1132 adhesive is that it dries super hard, so it's really difficult to push the edge over, which is why I used that tape while I was gluing to try to keep the glue just on the yarn and not on the fabric. And here's how it turned out. As you can see, well, as you can't see, you don't see any gray. which was my goal, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I don't think it would work as well if the yarn was a different color. Now I'm just going through and making some of the loops a little bit more uniform by trimming them down, and she's just about done. As I mentioned, Miss Queen of Hearts is going to be available in my shop this week, along with some other Queer Queen goodies. This is the first time that I'm expanding my offerings in my shop to more than just rugs, and I'm going to be learning a lot. I also recently updated my website, which is going to be live this week. I switched over from Squarespace to Shopify, so let me know if you want to learn more about that. I'm really excited to share more with you about my shipping process and other things I'm learning as a creative small business owner. Yeah, thanks for being here. If you're into this and want to see more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Okay, George says goodbye. Bye!